I'm Jack Roush. I raced in the Trans Am Series for 13 years. I won nearly 100 races. Trans Am made Roush Racing and Roush Fenway what it is today, and I have never had more fun in my life.
Greg Pickett, 78 Trans Am champion, back here at the Motor City 100.
I'm Tommy Kendall, a four-time Trans Am champ and holder of the longest win streak in racing history at 11. And Trans Am racing is as good as it gets, for my money.
I'm Amy Ruman. I'm the 2015 Trans Am champion, the first female Trans Am champion, and I'm not done yet.
Steeped in history, and history in the making. America's Road Racing Series, Trans Am, is celebrating its golden anniversary and looking at a future that's just as bright. The stars of yesterday and today, gathering in the Motor City to reminisce and, of course, race. Big, fast American muscle has returned to Detroit. Next, it's a double shot of Trans Am racing from Belle Isle. The return of the Motor City 100. Next. Hello and welcome to Detroit. Coverage of Trans Am, America's Road Racing Series, returning for 2016. Today it's the Motor City 100, presented by Three-Dimensional Services. Hello again, everyone. I'm Rick Benjamin. NASCAR star Michael McDowell is back alongside. Todd Lewis will have our coverage on pit road all season long. Mike, this has been an event that's been long in the making for Trans Am. Belle Isle, a big part of Trans Am history, and an honor for the series to come back here in its 50th anniversary season.
Such a neat course, Belle Isle. Is so much history. Trans Am having great races there. For them to finally make it back is going to be very special.
For the entire 50 years of Trans Am racing, this series has been all about American muscle cars like the Corvette, like the Mustang, like the Camaro, and like the Dodge Challenger, one of which will be driven this weekend by Adam Andretti, who's with Todd.
Thanks, Rick. Of course, one of the familiar names in auto racing is Andretti, including the Trans Am Series, where Adam Andretti is the '1 qualifier in TA2. Think back to some of those memories coming to this race in Detroit so many years ago with your family.
Yeah, I remember when they first came to Belle Isle in 1992, and it was memorable for me. Unfortunately, probably one my Uncle Mario wants to forget, because it was like the only race he ever missed because of injury. He had just broken his foot severely the week before at Indy. And so he wasn't able to race here. So I got to actually ride around here with him in the golf cart around here. Very fond memory, going to watch practice sessions. Not the best. He wasn't that excited about watching practice sessions and things like that, but nonetheless, it was a great experience for me, and love coming to Belle Isle. It's just been a dream of mine to race in front of these fans here in Detroit and on Belle Isle. It's always been a dream of mine to be in the Trans Am Series, to be able to do it, to have some success there. We're on pole. Have to follow that up here at the end of the race with a victory. And for this ECC Motorsports Group, Anchor, Bolt and Screw, BSN Sports, want to do well for everybody that supports us, for sure, and all these fans here.
Have a great race today, Adam. Thanks.
Thank you so much. Thanks, everybody.
Adam Andretti and the Andrettis have so much history in motorsports, and to be back at Belle Isle, it seems like a dream come true for Adam.
A dream come true for many in Trans Am racing to come back to Detroit after 15 years. The 50th anniversary season, a gala dinner held earlier in the weekend. Adam, one of many VIPs attending the 50th anniversary celebration at the Henry Ford Museum just outside Detroit. Paul Gentilozzi and Pete Halsmer, Lynn St. James, and many others. Greg Pickett there at that table. Special honored guest for the evening was team owner Jack Roush.
We only had 250 horsepower before he started restricting us for each of the four cylinders.
Jack getting a lot of laughs with that comment. Another treat in the evening, Walt Zarnicki, the Executive Vice President of the Penske Corporation, reminisced with MC Tommy Kendall about 46 years of working with Roger Penske to build that race team. And finally, some special anniversary medals were presented to the principal owners of the Trans Am Race Corporation who've done so much to bring the series back to prominence and back to Detroit. Simon Gregg, Mike Miller, Jim Durhag, DJ Jans, and Tony Ave receiving those honors Thursday of race weekend. Now, as we mentioned earlier, the Motor City 100 has a bit of a different format. These are non-points paying events, 2 50-minute races, and it's the American classes that'll run. Trans Am and TA2 plus TA4. The international class is not involved this weekend. No championship points will be awarded, but a lot of prestige if you can win here in Detroit. Todd Lewis downstairs with Mike Miller.
Have a look at the front of that green Dodge. It looks an awful lot like Sam Posey's car that he used to drive in the Trans Am series. This TA2 car that's being driven by Cameron Lawrence this weekend, Mike Miller is the owner. A little bit of retro and a little bit of brand new this season.
Well, it is. We've had this car out for 2 years now, and we had Sam at a race in Lime Rock last year. Sam signed a hood for us. We have that in a prominent position in the shop, and it's a really interesting car. Of course, it's a beautiful car with the green and the black contrast, and everybody likes it. We've got all the colors out this year. We got purple, we got red, and we've got this beautiful green car now.
These TA2 cars, lots of power, not lots of aerodynamics, but they go.
They do. They're a little over 500 horsepower. The cars are tube frame silhouette cars, so they're very much like the old school Trans Am cars. A little bit less horsepower than the big Trans Am car, but they're driver cars. They're a radial tire, a bias ply tire, not a radial tire. So the drivers really have to be careful. The track can be slick and it can be tough to manage with the bias ply tire. But with the limited braking and all those other things, it becomes a real driver's series. So we've got a lot of young drivers who are challenging this series to be the next step in their career.
That's what we're celebrating here in Detroit this weekend. Lots of history, but also the horizon looks very bright for the Trans Am series.
TA2 has seen some unbelievable races over the last few years. The class keeps growing, and what's so neat about it, all the manufacturers have that retro look and the cars look amazing.
Field rolling away to get lined up for the first of the 50-minute events, making up the Motor City 100 for Trans Am this weekend. Paul Fix has the pole in his 50 car. RJ Lopez lines up alongside in the 06. John Baucom out of Charlotte, North Carolina in his Ford Mustang, and Greg Pickett in that Jaguar at age 68, lining up in 4th spot. Doug Peterson, former champion, alongside Amy Ruman. The TA2 grid, Adam Andretti and Cameron Lawrence on the front row.
Got Guy Robertson starting 3rd there. He is our champion in the TA2 category.
Mark Miller, former champion in a variety of SCCA Pro Series, making his Trans Am debut. Your TA4 grade, Dean Martin from Michigan, very quick this weekend.
I'm not surprised to see Dean Martin on the pole here. Very fast race car driver. He builds a fast Ford Mustang.
Martin with a home game this weekend. Brian Kleeman alongside 3-time champ Ernie Francis Jr. lines up 3rd in front of Todd Napierowski. We'll come back for the start of the Motor City 100 in just a moment.
Motor City 100 on CBS Sports Network is being brought to you by 3-Dimensional Services Group. Prototype, production, proven.
Welcome back to the Motor City 100, presented by 3-Dimensional Services Group. We're at Belle Isle in Detroit, Michigan, where the big 3 car makers are located. Field getting set to go green here at Detroit. Let's check in with Todd.
Guys, something to keep an eye on in this race in the TA4 class, formerly known as American Muscle. It's all Ford Mustangs, it's all Camaros. They are production-based cars. The TA2 is much more sophisticated. But the 52 car of Dean Martin, well, he is putting a lot of muscle down and had a qualifying time that was nearly 2 seconds better than 2nd place in the TA4 class. In fact, it put him up into the midst of the TA2 cars. Going to be fun to watch him today here on Belle Isle. Mix it up with both classes.
What an amazing qualifying run. We'll see if Dean's able to hold on to that lead and get his victory.
Trans Am field coming toward the green flag. Paul Fix on pole, RJ Lopez alongside. John Baucom lining up 3rd alongside the legendary Greg Pickett, his 68th year on this earth. Green flag waving. Pickett's running 5 decades of Trans Am action. Defending champ Amy Ruman in the red Chevrolet, the 23, settling into 5th as the TA2 field comes by and takes the green, heading off into turn number 1. Adam Andretti starting up front in this race. Defending champ Gar Robinson there, 3rd in the 74. Here's the TA4 field with Dean Martin in that Mustang grabbing the early lead.
Oh, what a great start for Dean. He slid it in turn 1. Let's see if he has what it takes to get a Trans Am victory.
Fix, Lopez, Bauckham, Pickett, and Amy Ruman in 5th position. Ruman, by winning the championship a year ago, becomes the first female driver to win a major road racing championship in America. Of course, Amy's got a lot of role models, a lot of women drivers who've come along. Still kind of an anomaly in the sport, but one of those drivers who helped Amy Ruman be inspired to come and do this was Lynn St. James, who raced in Trans Am back in the 80s with Roush Racing, raced in IMSA competition as well in a GT car. Lynn and Amy Ruman were among the guests at the Trans Am Gala on Thursday night. We talked to both drivers about their acceptance into road racing.
When I first came to Trans Am, almost in any form of racing that I come into, it wasn't about trying to prove anything, and it wasn't trying to get acceptance, to be honest. It was just about doing the best I could possibly do and being as competitive as I could possibly be, and let the results speak for themselves. And if I got to make friends out of it, that was cool, but that was not a goal. I didn't focus on that.
She's definitely paved the way for a lot of us. I mean, I think the acceptance level started back then, and it's just grown and grown. I mean, and it's great because we have all these other successful females in other racing series like NHRA, drag racing, tons in road racing, you know, and in Indy 500, we still have females racing and NASCAR. So I think we're everywhere. It's just, we're just not the majority yet.
Amy Ruman building on the shoulders of Lynn St. James and others who preceded her in this sport, winning the 2015 Trans Am title and just going by Greg Pickett to take over 4th.
Yeah, they're having a great battle here for 4th place. Greg Pickett running that car as hard as he can. Amy Ruman has been so successful in this Trans Am series, been very dominant the last 2 years, and we look to see the same thing out of her again this year.
Her championship rival a year ago was Paul Fix in the Stopflex machine, the 4 car. He's got the lead here in front of RJ Lopez. They've started to open up a gap on Bauckham.
Yeah, what's cool about this Belle Isle course is you see it's a lot of concrete. It's very bumpy. It's very rough. You got to have your car in the racetrack. This is a place you can make a mistake, and if you do, it's going to cost you.
Adam Andretti, meantime, leading the TA2 field in his Dodge Challenger bodied car this year, the 44 car, the ECC entry. Adam Andretti ran a Mustang, ran a Camaro in past years, and now moving to the Challenger bodywork. He's in front of the defending series champion, second-year driver Gar Robinson out of San Antonio, Texas. Gar in that 74 car, the 74 Ranch Resort Chevrolet. He and his teammate Shane Lewis, they surprised everybody, certainly us, Michael McDowell, in winning the title his first year in Trans Am.
Absolutely, breakout season for him. Oh, it looks like he has a little bit of problem there. I don't know if he lost power coming off the corner there, but Gar Robinson definitely has a problem.
Cameron Lawrence and the rest of the TA2 field having to scatter, having to swing around the 74 to avoid contact coming off the corner. Troubles for the defending champion.
And we don't see any smoke or any oil or anything like that, so we're not sure if it's something electrical that took him out of the race.
Meantime, Paul Fix with his rear mirrors full of RJ Lopez's machine. Bauckham is 3rd. Amy Ruman sitting 4th. Let's get an update from what's going on downstairs. Here's Todd Lewis.
Yeah, guys, we're really not sure what happened to the 74 car. The team lost radio communication about the same time that he began slowing down on course. He's around turn 13, just short of pit in, so they won't be able to retrieve the car and get him back. They believe it's something electrical, and they can't get to the driver to find out for sure.
Tough break for the defending series champ. Meantime, a great battle for 4th. Pickett in the 68, Amy Ruman in the 23. We talked to Greg Thursday about his Trans Am days with Jack Roush.
Jack called me to come help him test the car at Road Atlanta. He picked me up at the airport. He walked me out to the curb, a little Econoline van. Who's driving the van? A young fella named Jack Roush. Who's sitting on a crate in the back and way back in the back? A fella, relatively well-known guy by the name of Gary Pratt. I sat down, little Greg Pickett, next to Bob Riley. If you think about the impact that little Econoline has had on motorsports, it's actually really amazing.
Trans Am Racing has had a lot of influence on the history of American motorsports during its 50 years of existence. Paul Fix is still the leader, 1 car in trouble on pit road. Former series champ Doug Peterson.
Yeah, guys, it's a safety issue that has brought the 87 car along pit road. Doug Peterson here because he's having an issue with one of the seat belts in the car and certainly didn't want to be out there without proper restraint inside that machine.
Great to have Doug Peterson and 3-Dimensional back. Their first outing this season in Trans Am in that Tony Ave-built Cadillac, the 87 car. Sorry to see them on pit road so early. Meantime, how about Michigan's Dean Martin leading TA4 in that 52 car, that Ford Mustang? They've been ridiculously fast so far this weekend.
He's been dominant all weekend, has the race lead, but you got to manage the tires really well in this TA4 category. We'll see if Dean has it.
Well, we talked earlier with Jack Roush. One of the other founding fathers of Trans Am was the great Roger Penske.
Being a Chevrolet dealer in Philadelphia back in the 60s and having the opportunity to race Camaros was a real fine thing for the team, and obviously the success we had with 3 championships with Chevrolet, then finally running and winning with the Javelin was a real part of our success in racing.
Win on Sunday, sell on Monday was a mantra the Detroit Big Three believed in when Trans Am began back in 1966. The pony car wars were just beginning. Trans Am became the place to do battle. Ford jumped in with Mustangs and Mercury Cougars, engineered by Bud Moore, driven by big names like Dan Gurney, Parnelli Jones, and George Fulmer. For GM, all hopes were on the Sunoco Blue Penske Camaros, wielded by the legendary Mark Donohue.
Think about Ford's, Camaros. We had Firebirds, Dodge cars, so it was a really amazing time then. Really, when you think about all good teams, all great drivers, and we had Donohue, which was my secret weapon at that time.
In just 4 Trans Am seasons, Penske and Donohue racked up an incredible 29 victories. First in the blue Camaros, and then the famous red, white, and blue American Motors Javelin. Now, those cars remain favorites for vintage race car buffs today. Roger sees that excitement returning with a retro look with the new TA2 class machines and the return of Trans Am racing in Detroit.
The racing in Detroit on Belle Isle is very important to our city, to the region, and to the state. And to have what I call the pony cars come back and something that you drive every day, be able to race at the racetrack is terrific. And it brings our weekend doubleheader to really is one of the most important parts of it. So to me, to come back is amazing.
Ford had decided they were going to try to generate more interest in their showroom. So they picked the Trans Am series, decided they want to go road racing. They had me build engines as a supplier, as an automotive supplier for 2 or 3 of the teams. And as I started servicing the engines and the teams, it occurred to me that they weren't doing as well with my engines as I thought they should, and I wasn't looking as good as I thought I should.
Jack Roush's answer was to build his own race cars with the help of Bob Riley and Ford's Lincoln Mercury division. The Roush Capris were an immediate hit. Jack would build more than 50 of the cars, leading Lincoln to manufacturer's titles in 1984 and 85.
Chevrolet was so maddened by the fact that we've been able to beat them as soundly as we had in 84 and 85. They got their checkbook out. They took everybody in my team except for one mechanic. I was left with one mechanic, and they took Wally Dallenbeck, who'd won the championship the year before. Ford had a Mercury XR4 TI, which was a 2.3-liter turbocharged engine package, which I had no experience with at all. So we rebuilt the program under Lee White for 86. We split the races between Scott Pruitt and Pete Halsmer. We went to the final race of the year at St. Petersburg, Florida. I needed to finish 1 through 3 with my Capris, with my Mercury, my XR4 TIs and my Capris, 1 through 3 to win a championship, to win a manufacturer's championship. I loaded 6 cars on a truck. I unloaded 5 of them in St. Petersburg, and we finished 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and won the manufacturer championship for the 3rd year in a row for Lincoln Mercury.
Then Roush Racing returned to building Mustangs, winning 3 straight driver titles with road racing ace Tommy Kendall. It all culminated in 1997 when the pair won the first 11 races of the season, Tommy driving the all-sport Mustang.
The whole Trans Am field thought that we had traction control. And they kept taking the car apart, looking for some way that they would have a computer hooked up. What we had was better shock absorbers. We had a ride model for most of the racetracks. We understood what the shock absorber requirement was, and we had a shock tuning program that Ford had helped us with, and we had better ride control of our tires and our shocks in that period of time than anybody else did, and they never figured it out.
Dampers, suspension bits and pieces, Michael McDowell, always critical in road racing.
Absolutely. Jack Roush is such an innovator in motorsports in general, and to hear those stories is so awesome. What they put into the Trans Am series and what that's cultivated for Roush Fenway Racing.
While we were away, hearing from Jack Roush, this pass from the lead, R.J. Lopez to the inside of Paul Fix, taking the top spot away. In TA2, Adam Andretti getting a lot of heat now from Cameron Lawrence in the 11 car, and right behind him the 77 being driven here this weekend by Louis-Philippe Montour, who's emerged as quite a challenger in TA2. And Adam Andretti with some brake smoke, it looks like.
Concern on the 44 team of Adam Andretti. He brushed the wall and everyone was very concerned. Crew ran out to have a look at him as he went by here on the front stretch. Seems to be okay. He says he's okay. We'll see as the race moves on.
So Adam Andretti, who's led from the start in the 44 car, coming up on the 7 machine here, one of the Trans Am entries in the field. That's Claudio Burton's car, but Andretti with a tire rub, it looks like.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it's cosmetic. You can see he got into the wall a little bit. The mirror's knocked in, the front splitter's on the ground, and we're going to get a replay here.
Whoa. Yes, he did. A little bit of a slide coming off the corner.
What a great save Adam Andretti made there. A big slide, almost backed into the wall. Just got it corrected and got it with the front left corner. It looks like that'll just be cosmetic damage.
Adam Andretti trying to split the middle here between one of the TA4 machines. Gets into Burton's car. Contact. The 77 of Montour getting into the 7 of Burton. And Cameron Lawrence, the 3-time series champion, the TI Automotive Dodge, had to lock up the brakes. Burton crossed up in traffic here coming off the corner. Let's take another look. On board Montour's 77. 3 wide and a tight right-hander.
Absolutely. There's really only room for 2 cars there. When you put it 3 wide, somebody's got to give. And unfortunately for Cameron Lawrence, he got the raw end of the deal.
All this helping the 44 of Adam Andretti reestablish the lead in Trans Am 2. Andretti scooting away despite clipping the wall. There's the 77 of Montour. Left front fender damaged, and part of it came off on the racetrack.
Yeah, we see a lot of sheet metal, a lot of parts and pieces laying on the track. Some more now. There's got to be a caution that's going to come out here soon.
Yeah, there's debris in a couple of corners here at Belle Isle, so you would certainly think that that would necessitate a full course yellow. Looks like the splitter has come off of Burton's car.
It looks like he must have had more damage from that accident than we initially thought.
Adam Andretti on pole in the 44, the ECC Dodge this weekend, doing a terrific job to build that lead despite sliding into the wall. Came off sideways earlier and just clipped the concrete on the right side, but didn't do any lasting damage, it appears. We've seen Adam use every bit of racetrack every time he comes out in this car.
Adam always has a lot of speed, and he's always pushing 110%. But at a place like Belle Isle, you get just a little bit wide, and that's all it takes.
And the caution will wave from the flag stand here. Full course yellow. Todd Lewis on pit road to check out the damage on the 77.
Yeah, this caution comes at a good opportunity for the 77 team. You can see the extensive damage to the left front. A lot of body work that needs to be fastened down or removed. The crew is going to do that. They're going to clear away some of the brake ducting that's impeding the progress of that left front tire, and then make sure all of those front end pieces are secure before returning them to the track.
That's a lot of damage to try to repair on pit road.
Absolutely, and it's such a shame. We had such a great battle for the lead in TA2. We had 3 cars fighting Andretti for that top spot, and unfortunately, their day was ended early.
Cleanup crew is busy in the Motor City 100. Andretti leading Kyle Marcelli. We'll be back. Welcome back to the Motor City 100 continuing. I'm Rick Benjamin, Michael McDowell alongside. Todd Lewis with our coverage this season on pit road. Dean Martin in that 52 car. He has led all the way in TA4. He's done a terrific job in that Ford Mustang, out qualifying the field by a couple of seconds in qualifying on Friday here at Belle Isle. And Adam Andretti, despite a couple of incidents of contact, well, he's the leader over Kyle Marcelli and Cameron Lawrence in TA2.
And you see Cameron Lawrence has closed the gap from that incident. They have actually ran Adam Andretti down, so it'd be interesting to see if we'll have a new race leader.
The 59 car belongs to Simon Gregg, second-generation star. His dad, the legendary Peter Gregg, his mom, Deborah Gregg, both with great Trans Am history. Simon, a couple of years ago, winning the Trans Am title in 2012. His team owner is Jim Durhag, who has had more than 100 career starts as a driver in this series. Jim transitioning to the team owner and car builder role earlier, and he's one of those who helped revive Trans Am racing.
In the 60s and 70s, when I grew up, you know, Mustangs and Camaros and Corvettes and Chargers and Challengers and all the muscle car stuff. Now with the resurgence, and I think largely due to the factories bringing back the Camaros and the Mustangs and the Challenger and really going back to an era that was successful for everybody. And the kids today, they aspire to have those kind of cars. You know, that and their smartphone are their 2 toys. You know, they exist in their car or in the, you know, a parallel galaxy on their smartphone. So I think that is what's made it successful.
Trans Am racing, like a big family, has so many elements of motorsports are, and Jim Durhak, one of the guys who has been part of the backbone of Trans Am, especially the revival of Trans Am as a pro series these last 7 seasons. Simon Gregg, meantime, up front as we take a look at the 06 of RJ Lopez and Paul Fix in the 4. This is the fight for the lead now.
And Fix has done a great job of keeping Lopez at striking distance. We're getting to the final laps of these races. It'll be interesting to see if Fix can mount up a charge.
Moving by the 97 of Tom Sheehan, one of the TA2 competitors here this weekend. Fix, meantime, who gave Amy Ruman quite a run for the championship a year ago. Adam Andretti misses a corner and ends up in a runoff area with a 44 car.
I'm not sure if that damage finally caught up with Adam. It looked like he went straight off there. He's got some smoke coming out of left front. Might have actually had that tire go down.
So Andretti out of it in the 44 car. That hands the lead in TA2 to Kyle Marcelli, who was the pole qualifier in the MBRP Performance Exhaust 96 car. Team for Andretti looking on from pit road.
And he had such a dominant performance, qualifying on the pole, leading all the laps, and then to get down to the final few minutes of this race and not bring the victory in is just so heartbreaking for the team.
RJ Lopez in the 06 Chevrolet, your race leader. Right behind him, Paul Fix in the Stopflex car. Out of the Buffalo, New York area. White flag is in the air. 1 lap to go in Trans Am in the Motor City 100 opener. And Lopez looking for a victory here on the Saturday of this race weekend. Meantime, in TA4, we see some of the competitors giving way to the race leaders. Lopez and Fix still with that fight going on in the final lap.
And with having multiple classes on the racetrack at the same time, it opens up opportunities for last lap passes like we see here.
Fix trying to take a look on the inside. Couldn't get the job done there. Meantime, the 2 TA4 cars could serve as a pick. Lopez has to be patient here. Works his way by the 8 car. Here comes Fix to do the same thing. Now Chuck Casaro in that red Mustang right in front of the 8. Casaro a little bit quicker here, but Lopez will put him away easily.
And Lopez done a great job managing the traffic. He's opened that gap up to 4 or 5 car lengths over Fix.
So RJ Lopez with a substantial lead right now. Paul Fix trying to get back into the hunt on the last few corners in this Belle Isle street circuit.
And it's fun to watch Fix here. He's driving everything he's got in that race car, locking up the brakes, trying to get to the bumper if he can.
Final lap of competition in the first half of our Motor City 100 doubleheader here in Detroit as Trans Am Racing returns to Motown. And RJ Lopez in control of this one. Paul Fix hoping he'll get one more shot at the race leader.
And he's got Top Naborowski in front of him. This may open up the door for Fix to have one less shot at it.
Part of road course racing, as you mentioned, Michael, in multi-class competition is knowing where those slower cars are and seeing if you can take advantage of them. Fix cannot. And RJ Lopez is the winner of the first half of the Motor City 100 in the optical Lopez Chevrolet Corvette, car number 06. Paul Fix comes home in second spot. In TA2, Kyle Marcelli in the Fields Chevrolet, the 96. He inherited the lead when Adam Andretti had problems. Kyle Marcelli appears to be on his way to victory in TA2. 1 or 2 more corners for Marcelli as he is behind Simon Gregg on the racetrack now. Marcelli, a veteran of World Challenge competition, of IMSA competition, done a great job here in Trans Am at Detroit this weekend. And Marcelli is your winner in Trans Am 2. That's the MBRP Performance Exhaust Chevrolet. There's the 52 of Dean Martin, who's been the dominator in TA4. We'll see if he can close the deal here over the final couple of turns.
And Dean's had a dominant performance, and he will get that victory. Did a great job all day long, led all the laps, qualified on the pole, and gets it to victory lane.
The picture cars east forward of Dean Martin taking home the win in TA4 here today. The Motor City 100, a couple of 50-minute races making up the Motor City 100 this weekend. Winners to meet when we continue. We'll be right back with plenty more coverage of the Motor City 100 presented by 3-Dimensional Services Group here on the CBS Sports Network.
RJ Lopez was quick to go over and congratulate second place runner Paul Fix. What a drive you had today.
Oh man, I don't think I've ever driven that hard in my life. I gotta be honest. Paul Fix, I mean, what a great guy to race with. You know, there were some times I think, you know, definitely under braking towards the end there, his car was a lot better than mine, and he was the total gentleman. You know, I mean, he could have had a really good chance to pass me. We would have been hitting though. So true gentleman. Car was amazing. I got to thank my team, man, Loeb Sport, Meissen Engineering, Publica Brewing, Optica Lopez. Just an awesome drive. I've never driven that hard in my life.
RJ Lopez is the winner here at Belle Isle.
That's a prestigious race to win. RJ Lopez takes the Trans Am opener, the first half of the Motor City 100 doubleheader over Fix. John Bauckham on the podium in the 86. Amy Rubin, the defending series champion, in front of Simon Gregg. That's your top 5. At TA2, Kyle Marcelli comes home the winner.
He did a great job managing that race, put himself in position, and when Adam Andretti fell out, he inherited the lead and came to victory lane.
3-time champion Cameron Lawrence in 3rd spot. And in TA4, Dean Martin is the winner over Brian Kleeman, Todd Napierowski, Chuck Cassaro in the 76, and Craig Capaldi back downstairs to top.
Helmet coming off, Hans' device coming off. Kyle Marcelli is out of the car. What a drive you had in this short 50-minute race.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it a lot. First, got to thank Fields Racing for the opportunity. They laid out a 4-race schedule and said that I'd be driving the car, and the team owner fabricated this himself. It's an M1 chassis. It's only a one-off, so real happy for them. MBRP, our sponsor this weekend. The race itself, it was a real challenge, you know. We had troubles in post-tech qualifying, so we had to start at the back, and I was hoping for a bit of a Cinderella story, and I guess I accomplished that, but it was a good fight with Adam Andretti and in the Miller Motorsport cars. Like, there was a good 4 or 5 car battle for the top spot, and it was just about not making mistakes. It was like, if you just kept the car between the walls and drove a reasonably quick lap, you'd be okay. And that was my only goal. And then I was getting a bit nervous. The last 10 laps, we just really started losing power. I didn't even need 4th gear on the straight. It was very strange, and I was just watching my mirrors, you know, those guys catching. So, you know, we got the win, and it's great for GM, and it's great to be here in Detroit.
Kyle Marcelli is the winner. The clock did not strike midnight. He takes it all the way to the front in TA2.
Well, for a driver who's just come new into this series, although he has a lot of experience in a couple of other professional road racing championships, to get a win here in Detroit, very prestigious indeed. At Belle Isle, the Detroit Grand Prix weekend unfolding. Past series champion Dorsey Schrader, one of those drivers who helped make Trans Am what it is.
You look at the different series I've run in and everything basically, but I'm known as the Trans Am champion. You know, that makes a lot of difference. You know, I won the GTO championship the very following year in a much faster car and technically a higher level, but I didn't get near the recognition as Trans Am champion brought me, along with the IROC starts and the things that came with that. It led my career further. You know, without that, I would have been stalled kind of like I was before in Formula Atlantic. So Trans Am, it was right place, right time for me, no doubt about it, and that series carries a lot of clout.
Dorsey Schrader, the '89 champion in Trans Am and one of our great friends in racing down through the years. Todd Lewis, meantime, ready to talk to our winner in TA4, Dean Martin, a strong run.
Dean Martin is the winner in the TA4 class. You were quick in qualifying and quick all through this race.
Yeah, you know, the guys at Core Motorsports gave me a great car, so I'm really happy. Our picture cars, East Ford Mustang, did a good job today. Started to get hot out there. That restart was pretty sketchy. A lot going on. And Brian was really fast at the end. He did a great job all throughout the race and managed his car well. So I kept looking in the mirror and was worried. I was very happy to see that white flag and then the checker.
Dean Martin, your winner in TA4.
Being fast in qualifying is one thing. Managing a race like that and getting home with a checkered flag is equally important. We congratulate Dean Martin, and we'll be right back.
Motor City 100 on CBS Sports Network is being brought to you by Replay XD, professional action cameras, the leader since 2005.
Trans Am contenders signing autographs for the big crowd here at Belle Isle in the Motor City. Trans Am and the Motor City 100. Ty Lewis standing by with the president of Trans Am.
As we continue to celebrate the return of the Trans Am Series to Detroit, time to talk to President John Claggett, the man who revitalized the series a couple of years ago. How gratifying is this weekend for you?
Well, it's been a long time in the works to get Trans Am, Detroit, Motor City back on the schedule, and it's come off exactly as I had hoped, with a gala dinner with the Walt Zarnicki talking about the Penske years, 69, 70. We had Jack Roush and Lynn St. James and Pete Halsmer, Mike Miller. It was a great evening of reminiscing about the past, talking about the future. And then the racing in race one was spectacular yesterday.
And that's what we're seeing. Great competition, great racing, and a bright future for this series.
Yeah, like to think so. We have a great technical package. You know, we just want to put on another great race today, which the rain could be an interesting factor, but hopefully it'll stay away.
Great history and a bright future for the Trans Am Series in Detroit and beyond.
When I first started calling Trans Am races back in the 80s, Michael, John Claggett was the public relations manager for the series. He's managed Trans Am beautifully and helped bring it back to prominence here once again in the 2016 season. There's race 1 runner-up Paul Fix in the Stopflex Chevrolet, along with two-time TA2 champ Cameron Lawrence, driving Joe Stevens' 11 car today. If you enjoy vintage race cars and other classic automobiles, take some time, check out the Roush Museum just outside Detroit. Race cars of all descriptions here, including the famous number 11 All-Sport Mustang, driven by Tommy Kendall in Trans Am back in 1997. TK, a 4-time series champ.
You got to think of the environment that the series was started in. I mean, it was the launch of the muscle car era, and it was the height of the American auto industry. And so you had all the people that were just car crazy, and they finally had some cars that were worthy of that, so to speak, performance-wise. And so that's what kicked it off. And I don't think if you didn't have that great era to start, it probably wouldn't have lasted as long like it has.
It's true that Trans Am began with production-based cars, but the great Tommy Kendall would define a different era in Trans Am history. Tommy won a championship driving a Chevy Beretta in 1990. But his true glory came after a devastating crash in a GTP car at Watkins Glen, a wreck that nearly ended Kendall's career.
And most people had written Tommy Kendall off, and we were kind of down on our spirits and between, we're having a low point, and I made the suggestion that we go take a look at Tommy Kendall, and he had a little trouble walking, but he didn't have any trouble with his brake foot or his clutch foot.
Fortunately, Jack was able to look past my injuries and say, let's take a shot. And if it wasn't for that, you probably wouldn't have heard of me anymore. But we got on a roll. We switched to Trans Am the next year, and I was able to win 3 titles in a row, 95, 6, and 7. And so I owe a huge debt to Jack Roush.
Tommy had him covered in that 11 car. The team would win a total of 20 races with Jack Roush in that number 11 machine. It included probably the greatest streak in Trans Am history. Tommy in the 11 won 11 straight races to start the 1997 season. Just one of Tommy's many fond memories of his legendary Trans Am driving career.
Yeah, that win streak we went on in 97 and probably breaking Mark Donahue's record at Watkins Glen. There was just so much symbolism there. I'd gotten hurt at Watkins Glen years before that. It's where Mark Donahue's streak had ended. We had to win where he couldn't to beat the record. It was just all this stuff, and things worked out in our favor, and we were able to get the W and extend the record.
Tommy nearly ran the table there in 97. Mike Borkowski knocked him out of the way with a couple of turns to go in race number 12. Called that race with Derek Daly. It was a great day. Meantime, Doug Peterson back in Trans Am competition. He's with Todd.
Just about set to get started for race number 2 here on Belle Isle, and it's Tony Ave, a former 2-time champion in the Trans Am Series in the 87 car today. Yesterday, it was another 2-time champion, Doug Peterson. You had a bit of an issue yesterday, though.
Yeah, we had a little hiccup with the car. They're pretty sure they have it fixed. You know, Tony's a professional driver. It's the 50th year anniversary for Trans Am. We're here in Belle Isle in Detroit. Awesome track. It's a little bumpy, but it's an awesome track, and Tony's moving up.
Great history here with Detroit and Trans Am and the pony cars. Did you give Tony any tips about moving up?
Yeah, well, I told him he better do it early.
Go fast, go early, and go to the front.
Now, Doug Peterson will watch this one from the sidelines. He, of course, a big part of Trans Am as a 2-time champion and the founder of 3-Dimensional Services Group in nearby Rochester Hills, Michigan, where they do rapid prototyping for all 3 of the American car manufacturers.
We're a Detroit area company, and our sponsorship of the Motor City 100 is a tremendous opportunity to bring Trans Am racing back to the Motor City. We specialize in precision manufacturing and rapid product development, and that really involves designing and building tooling and then producing parts from those tools, both functional prototype and low volume production. And we believe we do that better and faster than anybody. We hope Trans Am is here to stay. We're going to do everything we can to make that happen. It's been about 15 years since it's been here, and we really hope that this will be the first of many to continue.
The event being brought to you by 3-Dimensional Services Group, 3dimensional.com. We appreciate Doug Peterson's competition history and his support of this event at the Detroit Grand Prix. We'll be right back with the second half of the Motor City 100 here on CBS Sports Network. Welcome back to Belle Isle, Detroit, Michigan, the Motor City 100, the Trans Am Championship. Coverage on CBS Sports Network. Alongside Michael McDowell, I'm Rick Benjamin. Motor City 100 is presented by Three-Dimensional Services Group. Todd Lewis with our coverage on pit road. RJ Lopez will start first in the Trans Am portion of the field today off of yesterday's win. Cameron Lawrence would be starting second in the 11 car. Where's Kyle Marcelli, who won on Saturday here? Looks like there could be a problem for Marcelli. Dean Martin will have the #1 starting spot in TA4 in his very fast Ford Mustang. Let's get an update on Marcelli. Here's Todd Lewis.
A little trouble with yesterday's winner even before we get set to take the green. The 96 car of Kyle Marcelli, the winner in TA2, can't get going off the line. The rest of the field has streamed past. They're now rolling him back into pit lane, still trying to diagnose what that problem is.
Very unfortunate for Kyle. Had such a great performance yesterday. There was such an intense battle for the lead. We were hoping to see that again today.
And that Fields Racing Chevrolet, a great-looking car. We'll see if they can get Marcelli out for the start of this race. TA2 field lining up single file. There's Gar Robinson, the defending series champ, who had problems yesterday. He will start at the back of the field in the 74 car, and I'm sure he's thinking, hey, can I get to the front of this one today?
Gar might put on a tremendous show for us, starting at the tail end of the field. You also got Adam Andretti, who led most of the race. Can he get back to the front?
Tony Ave will start shotgun of the Trans Am field. He's a past series champion driving the three-dimensional 87 car. That is a Cadillac. Green flag is in the air. Lopez and Fix take him down toward turn 1. Lopez gets the drop on Paul Fix. John Bauckham in third. Amy Ruman moves to fourth. Simon Gregg and Jim Durhock's 59. And the car of Greg Pickett, the 68 machine, in sixth. Meantime, the TA2 field led by Cameron Lawrence is away. Tom Sheehan in the 97 running second. A.J. Hendrickson in the 47, and then Adam Andretti in the 44. And the TA4 field led by Dean Martin taking the green flag. Martin, Ernie Francis Jr., Todd Napierowski, and some contact early. Napierowski looks like he was hit by another vehicle as they came to the start. He's got a problem. Got a piece of trim flapping in the breeze there. Meantime, John Bauckham, Amy Ruman with a problem. She misses the corner completely in the McNichols 23.
Not sure what happened to Amy there. It looked like she actually lost power there. The car did not want to turn into the corner. You hear her fire the engine back up. Hopefully she can get back out there.
Meantime, let's go back and take a look at how the TA4 field got going. There's Napierowski lining up in third, and there was contact with the second place starter. Looks like he lost part of a tire.
It looks like they made wheel-to-wheel contact there, and that little bit of contact shredded that tire off.
So the TA cars dodging that piece of rubber that's in the groove coming off the corner, and we get a caution. Well, that gives us a moment before we go green again to talk about a new innovation in TA2 this season.
A lot of the focus of this program has been the great history of the Trans Am Series, but there's also a very bright future, and a lot of that involves new technology. Kirk Miller from AEM Electronics, you're supplying new ECU units this year for the TA2 class. How does that help the teams?
Well, it helps the teams in several ways. One, having an ECU, common ECU across all platforms makes it a little bit more of a level playing field. You have big budget teams, small budget or smaller budget teams, and having access to the same electronics and the same data, that plays huge in the team's success.
All that data is available to the teams as well afterwards, can help them with engine management and all kinds of other things.
That's correct, yeah. So having the engine data, having chassis data, all available through one location allows the crew chief to go back to the driver, to the chassis designer, or the tuners to make adjustments required to make the car more competitive.
These pony cars may look retro, but the technology under the hood is very much 2016 and looking beyond.
And the Trans Am Series did a great job of controlling these classes, controlling the budget. This is just one other factor that allow everybody to be competitive.
Dean Martin will have the restart lead in TA4 when we come back. Getting set for a restart here in Belle Isle in Detroit, Michigan. The Motor City 100 Trans Am back this season on CBS Sports Network. I'm Rick Benjamin. Michael McDowell was alongside Todd Lewis with our coverage on pit road. Quick caution for the contact involving Todd Napierowski's TA4 machine. Field has regrouped and the green is back out, and RJ Lopez is again the leader. Cameron Lawrence leading the TA2 category, Dean Martin in front of TA4, and we are underway with 43 minutes to go in this 50-minute race.
What's so fun about these double headers, you get to see guys like Adam Andretti and Cameron Lawrence have a second shot at a victory. So close yesterday. It's going to be really interesting to see in the Trans Am category if Paul Fix has enough to get around RJ Lopez.
Simon Gregg there in the 59 in front of Tony Ave. They're running in front of Greg Pickett, 4th, 5th, and 6th. As Ave takes a look to the inside of Simon Gregg, cannot get past him. The TA2 field, meantime, big traffic jam there as we get going. There's Greg Pickett in the 68 car behind Ave, so it's some tight battling in both these categories.
Very tight battle, and you know Tony Ave is having so much fun being out there on the Belle Isle race course. He's going to be charging hard, trying to get that three-dimensional services Cadillac to the front.
Ave with his hands full with Simon Gregg and Jim Durhawk's 59. Simon, the 2012 Trans Am champion, following in the footsteps of his legendary father, Peter, who won the championship earlier.
It was fun getting to go to Victory Lane and all the neat tracks. I always loved Watkins Glen and you know, going out to the West Coast on occasion. And it was great doing an occasional private test day, which allowed like a child to take a car around the track, you know, at high speeds. My fondest memory is at 10 driving 100 by myself at Daytona, and then at 16 getting to drive around the track at at Road Atlanta or Daytona and stuff like that.
Peter Gregg, Simon's dad, a 2-time Trans Am champion. His mom, Deborah, also raced in the series in the 1990s. Meantime, troubles for the 97 of Tom Sheehan. He's had some heavy contact, Michael McDowell.
And you don't get that from light contact. That looks like that would have been contact with a concrete barrier.
Left front corner of that car down completely, so Sheehan heads to pit road. Meantime, at TA2, side-by-side action. Adam Andretti trying to get around Cameron Lawrence. He's got him on the inside.
And Adam Andretti's been charging to the front. Had to start the tail end of the field. Had his problems yesterday in the race after dominating most of the race. It's going to be really hard for Cameron to stop Adam today.
They prepared the ECC 44 car. Adam Andretti led much of the race yesterday before having a problem late. Today, a problem early for Tom Sheehan. Here's Todd.
Yes, that is some serious damage to the left front of this TA2 machine. There is no way that this car is going to be continuing, guys. At 97, scraped along the left side. He is definitely done for the day.
Wow, that's heavy damage to the 97 car. Here's how it happened, Michael McDowell.
And as you can see, it happened so fast. Just carried a little bit too much momentum into the corner, got wide, and there's just no forgiveness when it comes to those concrete barriers.
And another problem for Todd Napierowski in the SKF Bearings 39 car. He had that tire come apart off the start when there was some contact. Looks like he has stopped on the racetrack. Michael McDowell, at least he's out of the groove here.
Absolutely. He's in a place where he could probably sit the rest of the race, but you never know. The caution may come out.
TA Field whistling by Napierowski's car. Now he's driver's left against the wall, so he's kind of pinned there. He can't go anywhere.
And he's in a safe spot there, not in a racing line, and so that makes it easy for the competitors to see him.
Gar Robinson, the defending series champion in TA2, under braking, wiggles that car, gets by Louis-Philippe Montour in the Dodge, the 77, the Speedlogix entry.
And this is what we're hoping to see. Gar Robinson yesterday had a problem with this car, had to start at the back of the field. He's working his way to the front, just like we saw Adam Andretti. These two guys could battle it out for the lead.
New sponsorship on the 74 Ranch Resort Chevrolet's Pura Vida. That's a tequila brand from Texas. Now the title sponsor of that car, and Shane Lewis's team car. Shane not in action here this weekend at this invitational event. Montour, meantime, looks like he's got problems with his hood pin. He's had a hood pin come off, it appears.
Yeah, the hood pin came off. You saw it popping up a little bit, but as that sheet metal weakens and weakens, that thing's going to want to rip off.
Even at the speeds you see on a temporary circuit like Belle Isle, the pressure, the air pressure on these cars is intense.
Absolutely. These cars still have a lot of aerodynamics. They're very sensitive to wind and aerodynamics. So when you see it just popping up a little bit, that might just be from the bumps. You get on the straightaway 60, 70, 80, 90, 100 miles an hour, it wants to fold all the way up.
Montour able to continue at this point. Hopefully he'll be able to stay in the hunt for the victory here today in round 2 of the Motor City 100. Meantime at Trans Am, Paul Fix has retired from the event, leaving Lopez out front. Here's Todd.
Paul Fix has climbed out of that car. We were hoping for another battle like yesterday. What happened?
Well, I had something for him. There was no doubt that this race was going to be mine. Unfortunately, the transmission gods were not with me today. So we lost all forward gears and had to coast in. So unfortunate, celebrating a great Detroit 50th year for Trans Am. It's pretty sad.
It is frustrating, but that is the toll that this bumpy track takes on some of these cars.
There you see it on the front of Doug Peterson's machine, Detroit Rocks. That's the view of everybody involved in the Trans Am Championship as the series returns to Belle Isle in the Detroit Grand Prix. 15 years it's been since Trans Am has been here, but a great coup certainly to bring Trans Am back to the streets of Belle Isle. Gar Robinson, meantime, in the 74 car, the 74 Ranch Resort Pura Vida Chevrolet, trying to track down Cameron Lawrence as they battle for a front spot in TA2. In Trans Am, Greg Pickett there in the Jaguar, the 68, able to hold back Simon Gregg for position. These cars in the top 5.
And there's battles going on throughout the race here. Oh, and you see Pickett get loose.
Greg Pickett coming off the corner. Now that's a very tough left-right combination. Looked like he got behind on the steering a little bit.
He was just racing hard, probably looking in the mirror, and just got a little bit loose, got behind on the steering, and that concrete's just not forgiving.
One more look at it as Pickett, lost it, car loose off the corner, and tried to correct a little tank slapper going on.
And you got to understand, these Trans Am cars, so much power, tight corner like that, heavy in the throttle, back end spins around, just no time to recover.
It does not take much to upset one of these cars in a tight section like this.
Absolutely not.
So that undoubtedly will bring out a yellow flag. Local cautions waving right now. Pickett at age 68. Great to have Greg back in the series. The car heavily damaged, and problems for the 87 car. Doug Peterson's Cadillac, the two-time series champ Tony Ave at the wheel today. The three-dimensional surfaces machine looks like he may not be around for the checkers either. Adam Andretti's leading TA2. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Detroit. Coverage of the Motor City 100 presented by Three Dimensional Surfaces Group. We're in Belle Isle in Detroit, Michigan for the Trans Am Series here on CBS Sports Network. Alongside Michael McDowell, I'm Rick Benjamin, Todd Lewis with our coverage on pit road. Green flag about to appear for the Trans Am field. R.J. Lopez, yesterday's winner, is the restart leader in front of John Bauckham and Simon Gregg.
John Bauckham does a great job in these races. He's one of those quiet drivers that's always in the hunt, second, third, approaching that win. Today might be the day he gets the victory lane.
The 77 Le Mans Tour with that hood pin issue still out there in competition. Lopez, Bauckham, and Gregg. Then you've got TA2 cars. Adam Andretti, Cameron Lawrence, Gar Robinson, and A.J. Henriksen, the teammate to Andretti, the 47. There's the 77 Le Mans Tour moving to the inside on Dean Martin's 52 car. Martin very quick, as we've talked about, right up there with the TA2 machines.
Yeah, Martin's been very dominant all weekend, but you see Ernie Francis Jr. lurking just behind him.
Tony Ave to pit road in the three-dimensional Cadillac. Here's Todd.
That's right, the track takes its toll again on another competitor. This time the 87 car, Tony Ave, was moving up, but the belt for the oil pump broke, no oil pressure, and the 87 car is done for the day.
Unfortunate for Tony Ave, was moving towards the front, but very veteran driver move. Once you lose oil pressure, the only thing that's going to happen next is a big boom, and he did a great job of preventing that.
Doug Peterson's Cadillac prepared out of the Ave Motorsports shops in Maiden, North Carolina, just north of Charlotte. So Tony being extra careful with his customer's car there, I'm sure.
Absolutely, and you see Ernie Francis Jr. putting the pressure on Dean Martin. This is the first time we've had a challenger for Dean Martin all weekend long.
Ernie Francis Jr., the three-time Trans Am champion, trying to pick up a victory here in the second half of the Motor City 100. History of Trans Am racing goes back a long way. One of the key figures, the great Ron Fellows.
It was some of the most fun racing that I think any of us did, and very fortunate to be in an era where you had all three domestics with factory teams, and just the nature of the sprint race format and the intensity that developed between particularly Ford and Chevy, and obviously with the Dodge program and the Archer brothers. Yeah, it just made for a good healthy rivalry and certainly being a Canadian and a hockey fan and a bit of a hockey player, nothing like a little nasty going on.
Ron Fellows driving that three car for Buzz McCall, drove for Tom Gloy with a lot of success. Never won a championship, but has 20 career victories in the heyday of Trans Am racing.
And Ron Fellows with such an amazing career, won so many races for Chevrolet. It's an astounding career that he's had.
Ron, now a track owner, one of the principals in Canadian Tire Motorsports Park, the formerly known Mosport up north of Toronto, Ontario, Canada. Great place to visit, and Ron, one of our dear friends in this sport. R.J. Lopez, meantime, as raindrops start to fall here on Belle Isle. In the 06 car, Lopez building that lead in his Corvette.
It's never a good sign when you see the driver working in the windshield wiper. Concrete course like this, very slick when the raindrop hits it. It's going to be a challenge to see if these guys, if they do need to pit and put rain tires on.
Battling in TA4, Dean Martin, Saturday's winner, has his hands full with Ernie Francis Jr. in that Breathless Performance Chevrolet. Ernie taking a look to the inside of Martin as they come from under the Pure Michigan Bridge. And you see some raindrops while it's looking sunny at this part of the race course. That battle continues in TA4. Francis now a couple of car lengths behind Dean Martin.
It's one thing to catch them, it's another to pass them. In this tricky Belle Isle track, you have to set it up just right. You got to get to the inside, take position, and that may take 3 or 4 corners to actually set up that pass.
And Michael McDowell, Francis wiggles coming off the corner. With your vast experience in road racing, when you've got a track that's partially wet and you're on dry tires, man, that makes it even tougher.
You want to be that car sitting second place when you have those kind of conditions, because Dean's going to be the first person or the first car to hit that wet surface, and that allows you to gauge, you know, where do I need to push it, where can't I push it? But if Dean slides wide at any point, Ernie's there to pounce.
Rain starting to pick up, at least in this part of the course. You can see some raindrops on our camera lenses here.
And the cars are sliding around. These guys haven't let up one bit. You see Ernie sliding all the way through turn 1 and turn 2. They are both fighting hard like it's the end of the race.
Now this weekend in Belle Isle, you've got a lot of different kinds of race cars on the track, so there are places where the water won't absorb at all. I mean, it's going to be pretty slick where there's rubber down. As we watch Lopez continuing to lead with 16.5 minutes to go in this 50-minute timed event.
Absolutely. And the tough part is you see all the rubber built up in the brake zones. When that, oh, it looks like we got a problem.
RJ Lopez has a problem indeed. Left front corner down on the 06 car. So Lopez, who was bidding to sweep the weekend in Trans Am, goes into one of the runoff areas at the end of the backstretch here. And he has definitely got a problem. Had led all 18 laps to this point. Looks like the left front tire may have gone down.
And it looks to me they may have had some suspension damage. It didn't make contact with the concrete wall, but that tire was pointed in the wrong direction.
So John Bauckham out of Charlotte, North Carolina becomes your new leader. The RoadRaceParts.com Ford Mustang, John's familiar 86 car. 0 career victories. He's had a bundle of top 5s. He's been on the podium many times, including yesterday. Here, this could be the day he breaks through and kicks that door down.
And it's really exciting to see this because John is such a fierce competitor. He's right up there with the top 2 or 3 guys every single weekend, but hasn't broke through the victory lane.
Crews watching from pit road here at Belle Isle in Detroit. Simon Gregg meets Adam Andretti in the 44 car. Looking like he's auditioning for a dirt track drive. He and Gar Robinson side by side.
Oh, what a battle there. That incredible save by Adam Andretti, and Gar Robertson is pouncing, trying to get that lead, which he takes. Adam Andretti's going to look to the inside here. Let's see if he can pull it off.
Gar Robinson, the defending series champion, won it as a rookie a year ago. Taking the lead back, Andretti tries the crossover to get back alongside and see if he can retake the top spot. Whoa! Good stuff in TA2. Adam Andretti, Gar Robinson side by side here at Belle Isle.
And this is what you expect from Trans Am racing. Hard, door-to-door, side-to-side, rubbing, banging, beating, but this is great racing.
Robinson throwing caution to the winds here late in the going. He has taken over the lead from Adam Andretti. Andretti, a guy who, when he gets past, certainly does not like it and does everything he can to get that spot back.
Oh, you're dealing with 2 fierce competitors here. We saw this last year. Lots of great battles between these 2 drivers. And they know this is a non-points race. They can run as hard as they want. Only thing that matters in this day is the checkered flag.
Robinson still in command by about 1.5 car lengths over Adam Andretti. Adam right back at him in the right-hander. And up onto the backstretch here at Belle Isle. Excellent action here in TA2.
And so much fun watching them slide these cars around. The TA2 cars are on a bi-ply tire. You hear them squealing the tires, sliding off the corner. It is really, really impressive to see these guys in between tight concrete walls just flop those cars around and catch them.
Now, the normal Trans Am race distance is 100 miles, and a regular Trans Am weekend, TA2 gets its own 100-mile race. 50 minutes of racing yesterday and another 50 today. That's probably about 35 laps or so, maybe about 65 or 70 miles of racing. So you've got to take care of your tires, but you have less time to worry about.
Absolutely. This is a sprint race, especially as we close into the end here. These guys are flat out 110%, everything they have.
Robinson leading TA2, Adam Andretti running in second spot. Bauckham, Gregg, and Tony Ave, Greg Pickett, Amy Ruman, Claudio Burton, Paul Fix, the rest of your TA field. Several cars running into problems over the course of the weekend. The 52 of Dean Martin trying to double up in TA4 this weekend, but Ernie Francis Jr. right there in the 98 car.
And Ernie Francis Jr. is such an impressive driver for being so young. He's very calm. He's in a high-pressure situation here, but really, he does a great job of managing his races. We see him get the victory lane all the time, does not make a lot of mistakes. Dean's new to this series. He's not new to the racing by any means, but new to this series. You'll see if Ernie can put the pressure on him and get Dean to make a mistake.
See the brake lights flashing there on the 52 car as he gets out of the gas, sets up for the left-hander. It's a very tight race course here in Belle Isle. It's wide in a lot of places, like a lot of street courses aren't. Very narrow in others. Meantime, back at TA2, Adam Andretti all over the back bumper of Guy Robinson, making another charge.
Oh, this is great racing. I just want to sit back and watch it. It's so good. Adam Andretti getting to the bumper, trying to get Gar sideways. Gar's pushing as hard as he can in every brake zone, trying to keep Adam behind him.
Top 2 in TA2 here in Belle Isle, the second half of the Motor City 100 doubleheader for Trans Am, marking the 50th anniversary season. Our thanks to Three Dimensional Services Group, our event sponsors here this weekend. Great to have Doug Peterson back in a race car in this event. Adam Andretti up alongside Robinson for the lead in TA2, and he takes it back.
A great pass, out braking, just straight forward, hard into brake zone, was able to pull it off.
And
oh,
the
heavy
rain really starting to come down now. Boy, all of a sudden, what was a very light shower is going to grease up this racetrack enormously.
And these are such tricky conditions. It's like driving on ice. You have hot, slick tires, and then all the rain. Ernie Francis Jr. uses Montori as a pick and gets around Dean Martin for the race lead.
For TA4, Dean Martin had led all the laps to this point both days. Ernie Francis Jr. says, hey, here's my chance, and he makes it work.
He did such a great job utilizing that traffic as a pick, is able to pull it off. Let's see if he can stay clean and get to the victory.
The 76, the Forge Line entry, getting in some trouble in turn 1. Gets that car pointed in the right direction. We are back underway. That's Chuck Casaro's entry in the Core Motorsports Ford. But you've got to really be mindful of this now. Everybody on dry tires. Nobody expected this to happen. So full course yellow is displayed as rain is prevailing all around the Belle Isle circuit here in Detroit, Michigan. There's more to come. The Trans Am Series in Detroit. We'll be back.
Motor City 100 on CBS Sports Network is being brought to you by Three Dimensional Services Group. Prototype, production, proven.
Welcome back to Belle Isle in Detroit. The Trans Am Series on CBS Sports Network. Coverage of the Motor City 100 presented by Three Dimensional Services Group. I'm Rick Benjamin, Michael McDowell alongside Todd Lewis with our coverage all season down on pit road. Caution coming out because of hard rain that came just a few moments ago. Now it looks as though it's starting to clear just a little, but SCCA Pro Racing officials, the schedule here very tight this weekend. The checkered flag will fall over John Bauckham, who wins his first career Trans Am event, picking up a victory in the second half of the Motor City 100 doubleheader. Ernie Francis Jr. will win the TA4 round, and TA2, it appears, will go to Adam Andretti with that late race pass of Gar Robinson.
So much action late in this race. Who would have thought that Dean Martin would have gave up that finish right at the very end when the rain came down? Ernie Francis Jr. capitalized. Gar Robinson giving up the lead to Adam Andretti at the very closing laps. Intense finish in the Trans Am Series.
In Trans Am, Bauckham, your winner. Simon Gregg in the 59 comes home in second. RJ Lopez, who had that problem earlier, got back on the racetrack and gets credit for third in front of Ave and Pickett. In TA2, it's Andretti beating Guy Robinson to the stripe. Cameron Lawrence rounds out the podium. Montour in the 77, Sheehan, and Kyle Marcelli, who had that problem at the start in the 96 car. But a great battle all day long in Trans Am and in Trans Am 2. And Adam Andretti, you think he's a little excited at getting to victory lane here today? Todd Lewis ready to talk to our winner in TA2.
I don't know if you could hear the yells before the helmet came off, but they're there. Adam Andretti, you make up for yesterday. You said there was a little driver mistake, none today.
No, I owed it to these ECC Motorsports guys to have that kind of performance today. I don't feel like I really put a wheel wrong. We even had lap traffic try to do it to us again. And I drew on some of my sprint car experience. Thank God I have that. What a blessing that is. And some good old Indiana sprint car experience. Just held it full throttle. I think I put on a little show for the fans. Missed the lead, lost the lead in the meantime. But Gar Robinson, this is his hometown race. I know he's from Texas, but he lives here.
So I know it was really important for him. And so wonderful hard fight for him and wonderful clean racing between the two of us. And to have Cameron back on the podium with us, we have a Dodge 1-3. And I have to say something about my teammate, AJ Hendrickson. Some of you race fans may know he's an oval guy from ARCA. So he's used to concrete walls, but not rain. And it took everything of our gumption, all of us out here, to keep those things out of the fences during the wet. So I hope you fans appreciate it. Can't thank ECC, Engineer Components Company, Anchor, Bolt, and Screw, Belle Helmets, BSN Sports, Hitchman Race Uniforms. You all are a huge part of this, and I can't thank you enough. Thank you.
It was awesome to watch. Adam Andretti is a winner in race number 2 here in Detroit.
Michael McDowell, it's a shame Adam Andretti's not passionate about this sport. Here's the movie talked about, the sideways coming into turn 1.
Well, we saw his intensity after winning the race, and we saw it on the racetrack. Those guys were sliding that car around, showing great car control. Cannot believe they kept it off the concrete walls.
Adam making the pass just a couple of turns later here, setting up Gar Robinson under braking, swinging to the inside and making it stick.
Absolutely. You got to remember, these guys started in the back, drove all the way to the front, and then put on a race like this for the lead.
So Adam Andretti comes home the winner in TA2 in the Sunday half of the Motor City 100 doubleheader. In Trans Am, a great story. First-time winner, John Bauckham, is with Todd.
Here's your winner from TA, John Bauckham. It was going to be a bit of a battle of attrition. Did you hold on? How nervous were you in the end of this?
Well, I was pretty nervous. It started raining on the back straightaway pretty heavily there. Got a little scary. Lopez, also, that's what happened to him. He locked the brakes up. I think it blew the left front tire out when he did, and I certainly didn't want that to happen. I knew I could keep Simon at bay at that point, and I was actually catching Lopez back once it did start raining some. So I think we had a great car for then. We were on a budget, so we made a strategy choice and used the same set of tires as yesterday, which nobody else did, which hurt us at the start some, but I think it would have been very good at the end. So, but we're very excited to win. Glad to be here in Detroit.
John Bauckham, your winner in TA class here in Detroit.
Like John said, small team, small budget team, but getting to victory lane, especially at a special place like Belle Isle, where they haven't been there in 15 years.
In TA4, Ernie Francis Jr. back to victory lane, getting by Dean Martin late in the going. Craig Capaldi rounds out the podium in front of Kleeman, Casaro, Utzen, Naperowski, and Nate Stacy, who did not start in the 51 car. Michael McDowell, huge for Trans Am to be back at the Motor City 100.
Lots of momentum, a lot of anticipation leading into the race, and it did not let us down.
Excellent action both days. We hope you've enjoyed our coverage, and we certainly thank everyone who participated this weekend in recounting the 50-year history of Trans Am. We're excited about the next many years here on CBS Sports Network. I'm Rick Benjamin. We'll talk to you next time.